official welcome to everybody on this very auspicious night of the winter solstice. This is one of my favorite days of the year, the other being the summer solstice, which most of you already know is also my birthday. But I love this time of year because the time leading up to the winter solstice is that time of darkness and drawing inwards. And as a person who's very busy in the summertime, as many of us are, I really enjoy this time of quietude and gestation and planning and examining and thinking. And so I love this time of year. Um, so tonight's class, just so that you know, I am recording it. So if something happens to your connection, I can send you the recording later if you text me. And also this class is a little different than our normal classes in that I'm not going to be giving you a ton of instruction about um, the logistics of the poses themselves. We're really using these poses to help embody the whole aspect and essence of what we're working with through our winter solstice practice. So it's really not about the postures is what I'm trying to say. And there's a lot of information that some readings and messages that I want to give to you. So I may not even stay in the poses the whole time that I keep you in the poses. So just be aware that if you see me move out, I might just be wanting to read a message or a quote to you. Not necessarily that you're supposed to come out of it and do whatever I'm doing, but hopefully I won't do that too terribly much. Most of you may have some of the items that I put in your email. Some of you may not, and if you don't, that's okay. But we're really working with the essence of some of these items. And so we're going to open class with 3 rounds of Om and just really feel into that vibrational essence of the Om to start our class off. So hands at your heart center. You can be seated on a chair or on a cushion or a block, whatever's comfortable for you. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale out your mouth. Take one more inhale to begin. And then just let yourself sit with eyes closed for a moment and feel that vibration created in your heart center by the Oms that we just did together. And I know with all of us here, it would have sounded absolutely beautiful had we been able to be in one room. And so just start to connect with your breath, however you are seated at this moment. And I'm going to just talk a little bit about the essence of the winter solstice as you connect with your deepest belly breath. And the essence of the winter solstice is really this day of beginning the ascension of the sun, which will come to its highest point at the summer solstice 6 months from now. And solstice literally means sun standing still. So there's that pause at both solstices where the sun appears to be not moving before it begins its descent from the summer solstice back around again. And so the cyclical nature can be seen both in the macrocosm of the solar energy, but also in the microcosm all the way to our breath. So the moon cycles, this night is like the beginning of the new moon, of the darkness of the new moon. This is also the midnight hour of our day cycle, where the sun is beginning to move back upward to high noon, which equivalent to the summer solstice, and the full moon equivalent to the summer solstice. And then if we look at our breath, the beginning of our exhale is from the bottom, from the root, from the darkness as it rises up all the way the ascension to the crown, from our root to our crown, and then exhaling back down. And so we're actually going to visualize that breath right now. And you can start with your hands at your base if you wish. Eyes closed. Take a pause at the bottom of your exhale to a count of 3, 2, 1. And then as you inhale, begin to imagine the breath traveling through all 3 of your chakras, all the way to the crown chakra, where we pause at the top of your inhale to a count of 3, 2, 1. And then release your exhale and imagine it going down your back body, all the way down to your base at the bottom of your exhale, where we pause for a count of 3 in the darkness of the root. 2, 1. And let's do that 2 more times. The inhale breath, we rise up from the darkness all the way to the light of the crown, where we pause for a count of 3, your count of 3. And then imagine the exhale down your back body, moving through all of the chakras, all the way to your base. At the bottom of your exhale into the darkness of the root, we pause for a count of 3. And then one last time, Saturn is equivalent to our root, to our grounding, as we rise up all the way to the crown, which is related to Jupiter, which is coming into convergence with Saturn, from our crown to our root, from our root to our crown. The end of your 3 count pause, exhale down the back body, embodying that cyclical nature of our breath, all the way out into the macrocosm of the sun. And just take a moment. And then if you have your items that I suggested you might want to have, pick up your pine cone. And for a moment, open your eyes and just look at the sacred geometry of the pine cone. The pine cone is related to the pineal gland. And if the word pine is actually in the pineal gland, and it's shaped like a pine cone. And it's said that this pineal gland is responsible for our enlightenment, and it is what helps us move into our circadian rhythms, because it is sensitive to the light, and it's related to the third eye chakra, which is all about enlightenment. And so the pine cone represents enlightenment and our highest spiritual potential. So holding your pine cone in your palms, close your eyes once again, and bring forth your intentions from your highest spiritual potential. Looking at your gifts that you possess and what you can bring forth in this new period of growth, both for your highest good and the highest good of the collective. And just take a few moments coming to your intention that we will hold for this night and for the coming days. The Pine Spirit is reminding us to connect with our intuitive cycles and the higher purpose that inspires us to tap into our inner light as we move through our periods of darkness. So repeat your intention to yourself 3 times. Bring it to your heart center. And then place your pine cone down. We're going to move into our first posture. And our first few postures are going to be more contemplative. And if you have a prop, I forgot to bring my bolster, but my meditation cushion is going to work just fine. So we're extending our legs straight out in front of us. And you can have a rolled up blanket, you can have a cushion, you can have a bolster. I've got my meditation cushion, you could have a block. I found something soft is really nice for this forward fold, because as we fold forward onto our prop, it really helps to ground the thighs down, again, relating to that root chakra. And before you get completely set up in your forward fold, we're going to bring rosemary. If you've got some waiting for your Christmas turkey, you can still use it for your turkey later. Just take in the aroma of rosemary, and if you want, you can even place it on your prop as you come into your forward fold. So rosemary is related to memory. So as we come into our forward fold, we take this time to come into the darkness, closing your eyes, breathing into the back body, and allow the back body to expand like the expansiveness of the night sky. And you can rest your hands on your shins, your feet, your prop, whatever is appropriate for your what's happening in your body today. We're going to stay here like a yin-like pose for a few breaths. So closing the eyes and allowing the memory invoking potentials of rosemary to help us look back and invoke the memory and clarity with acknowledgement of our 2020 soul lessons. We'll take a few breaths here, affirming every part of your experiences of this past year, and allowing the spirit of rosemary, of release and purification to assist you as we take those lessons that we've learned. We take time to examine our shadows, our mistakes, those times when perhaps we felt wounded or were the cause of wounds for someone else, and allow all of those things that no longer serve us, that we've learned our lessons, and release with that spirit of purification, release of rosemary. Staying here in your forward fold, feeling the ground through the root, through the backs of the legs. This grounding is related to the planet Saturn. It helps us manifest and ground our ideas, our intentions into the physical realm. Again, bringing your awareness of breath into the back body. Like the night sky above us, expansive, dark. Let's have 3 more breaths here in our forward fold. And then slowly begin to make your way up to an upright seat. And if you need, you can bring your hands beside your hips to assist you to sit with a nice tall spine. You can place your rosemary off to the side. You can place your prop off to the side. And if you're able, we're going to reach up to the sky in something called Kali Mudra. So intertwining the fingers with just the index finger exposed, left thumb over the right. And inhale to reach up to the sky as though we're reaching up our highest aim, our highest intentions as we lengthen our spine up. Lengthen up with the reach of our index fingers. The index fingers also relate to the planetary essence of Jupiter, of expansiveness, of possibility, and of hope. Take one more inhale breath here as we reach up. And then slowly bring your hands down through your heart center, bending the knees and bringing the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana. So you might put props under your knees here. And if you have a blanket, I don't have my blanket, but you can also wrap a blanket around your ankles under your shins. We did this in one of our other classes before. but it can feel very supportive. So just wrap it underneath like this, and it gives you some support as well. Some of you are going to have your hands beside you to support you. Some of you might have your feet a little further away from your pubic bone. If you have your cinnamon handy, bring your cinnamon into your hand and take a deep inhale to the essence of cinnamon. So cinnamon relates to the root chakra, and as I said, so does the planet of Saturn, to the grounding, to that idea of manifesting. And as you sit here, bring your hands to your feet and begin to massage the arches of the feet, that essence of what actually connects us to the earth, to our root, to Mother Earth. And close your eyes and go inside, staying with your breath. So this essence, the smell of cinnamon can invoke those incredible feelings that make us feel safe and cozy at home. And really, these are essence of root chakra, of being safe, of being grounded, and the sweetness of life. It warms our souls and ignites our passions. And it is infused with the sun's energy as we begin to prepare to welcome this new sun in. Now, some of you from here may fold forward, and if you're folding forward, you may want to bring that essence of cinnamon up to you. Some of you might actually lay back in Supta Baddha Konasana, maybe laying on a bolster or a blanket or flat down on your back. You choose where you're going to move into with this butterfly pose or Baddha Konasana. As we're going to stay here for a few more breaths, allowing some opening, some grounding, and some contemplation and reflection here. Nice deep breaths as you inhale and exhale, and allowing that higher vibration of cinnamon to assist you to reach to a higher state of spirituality on this darkest night of the year. And while the spice itself is related to the sun energy, the fire element, the tree is related to lunar energy, which stimulates our higher selves and thinking. So take some time for inward reflection here of the year past as you remain grounded, of your intentions and that which you want to bring forth as we move into this new light. Let's have two more breaths here in whichever variation of Baddha Konasana you have chosen to embody tonight. And then we're going to begin to bring some more movement into our practice, coming onto hands and knees. And just starting with a few rounds of cat-cow. Hopefully you can still hear me okay over here. So making your way, removing your props onto hands and knees, tabletop, and moving through cat-cow. Just a few normal rounds to begin with. Inhaling, drawing the heart center forward, opening the front body, and exhaling, drawing into yourself, chin towards chest. And just moving with your breath here. And then we're going to add lion's breath into our cat-cow. So we inhale, reach forward, and exhale, stick out your tongue and breathe forcefully out your mouth. Inhale forward. We'll do this 3 times. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Open the mouth wide and make a ha sound. Release. Beautiful. Curl your toes under. Lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog, bringing a little more space between hands and feet. Maybe walking that out. Maybe bringing some circular motions like the cyclical nature of our sun, our moon, our breath, our day cycles. And then let's walk our feet or step your feet to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, bow down. Inhale to rise up. Reaching up to the sky. Bring your hands into Kali Mudra again with hands, fingers intertwined, index finger reaching up. Again, our highest aim, our highest intentions for our highest good and the highest good of the collective. Let's inhale, pause at the top of your inhale breath here to a count of 3, just like the word solstice means. Just stand still. And exhale, release the breath. Let's do 2 more breaths like that. Inhale, you're reaching your highest aim. Pause at the top of your inhale to a count of 3. Exhale, but keep reaching. 1 last breath. Inhale, reach a little bit higher. Pause at the top, reminiscent of the solstice sun. And this time as we exhale, release the hands down in a big wide circle, coming back to your heart center. We're going to come into some forward folds, really easy, loose forward folds. So start with your feet wide. As you inhale, bend your knees, reach up. As you exhale, bend your knees, fold down. Inhale, reach it back up, and exhale. It's like we're flowing here. Nice and easy. Exhale, we fold, we drop the chin. Inhale, we rise up, we reach. Let's do that 3 more times, just getting the spine moving. And you can even exhale out your mouth for more release if you want. And if you want to create lion's breath for these last few breaths, you can do that. Inhale up, exhale. All about releasing all that heavy energy of 2020. And I think because it was such a heavy year, let's do a couple more. And this time as we inhale, we reach up, and exhale, draw it into our heart center, coming back into our mountain pose for a couple of breaths. We're going to move through some easy, gentle, flowing sun salutations and bringing in the essence of orange. And my dehydrated slices look really cool when you hold them up to a light, because they actually look like the sun when the sun shines through them. So you can just visualize your orange if you want. You could actually hold the orange. It's up to you. I'm going to hold mine. Inhale, let's reach up to the sky, and exhale, we fold forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And as we exhale, fold forward, plant your hands, step back with your right foot. We're coming into a lunge, so dropping the back knee. We're starting with a low lunge. And as we inhale, reach up to the sky, to that essence of the light, to the essence of the orange, which is symbolic of joy, of happiness, of energy, of the sun itself. And as we reach up with that same mudra, the index finger reaching up, connecting with that Jupiter energy of expansion, of possibility, of hope, and that energy of the rising sun, ascending sun, we open our front body and aim for our highest intentions. Take 1 more breath here, and the exhale, the hands come down. You can set your orange down, lift the back knee, step forward, and step back with the left foot. So same thing on our second side, drop the back knee. Inhale to reach up. Kali Mudra, index fingers reach to the sky. Lengthen up. Again, reaching your intentions high to the sky, bringing forth that energy of the sun within. Orange, the color orange is really a combination of the energy of red and the happiness of yellow to create that joy and creativity. Take 1 more breath here, and then exhale. The hands come down. Step back into downward facing dog. And then we're going to flow forward. And I'm going to say you choose how you want to get down to your mat. It can be knees down, it can be knees, chin, chest, or it can even be chaturanga if that's what you're feeling today. And then you're going to rise up in any back bend that helps to open the heart. So drawing the heart forward, maybe it's baby cobra, maybe it's a salabhasana, or maybe it's upward facing dog. But whatever back bend you've chosen, really think about drawing the heart and your light out and forward and up. Take one more breath, and then we find our way back to downward facing dog. Take one more breath here. And then we're going to step our right foot forward. So you might want to float that right leg up to the sky as you inhale and exhale. Step that foot up between your hands. Use your hand to help it get there. Whatever you need to do, we're going to stay high on our back toes this time. And inhale, rise up into crescent moon. I don't know how many of you saw the crescent moon last night, but I went and laid out on a snowbank under the crescent moon, and it was beautiful and bright, and the stars were brilliant. It was a really special night. Kali Mudra, index fingers reaching up. Again, your highest aim, drawing forth your intentions, creating that light, let your own light shine out, that essence of orange. One more breath. And we exhale, the hands come down. Step back, downward facing dog. And let's move into our second side. Possibly your left leg floats up. And exhale, step it up between your hands. Coming into our crescent moon second side. Kali Mudra, index fingers. The Jupiter fingers reach up to the sky. Again, that power of expansion, possibility, and hope as we reach for our highest intentions. Beautiful breath here, heart open. Shining your light. One more breath. And this time we're going to draw our hands down through our heart center. Pivot that heel down and rotate to the long side of your mat, coming so that your feet are parallel. So we're going to play a little bit. If you have a piece of spruce, you can grab your spruce. If you don't, that's okay. This class isn't as flowing as normal because we're really working with symbolism and creating that landscape for our thoughts and for our essence. So spruce is the essence of resilience. And I know resilience has been a huge thing this year with COVID and everything that brought. And so spruce, besides smelling beautiful and making amazing, healthy tea, really is about resilience. So we're going to turn our right toes to the short end of our mat in the shape of Warrior Two and reach out into our Warrior Two shape. Really feel that strength as you ground through your feet, that expansiveness as you reach out and find your own inner resilience that will carry you through the dark parts, through the obstacles that we face, because we all have this resilience of spruce within us. And then as we inhale, we'll come up, cross your arms, and just switch your feet to the other side. So now the left leg is bent in Warrior Two on our second side. Again, drawing forth that essence of resilience, of strength, while still holding on to our expansiveness and our possibilities in this expansive pose. Next inhale, come upright again. Bring both feet parallel once again. I'm going to place my spruce down, and you can too if you wish. And we're going to come into star pose. So if we think of the night sky, we think of ourselves as a 5-point star here, and really extend, spread your fingers wide, press your feet down, long through the spine. And then we're going to work with a mudra. Our fingers are all represented in Vedic culture to planetary energies. And so index finger, as I've been saying, is Jupiter. So bringing thumb and index finger together And Saturn is the middle finger. So let's bring both index and middle finger to touch the thumb. And now we're going to move into our warrior two once again. So right foot pivots and keeping that mudra with your fingers. We're going to start to circle this hand. So bring the right hand just to circle your head and reach it back out. And then your back arm circles the head. And we're just going to do that a few times, bringing a little bit of movement and flow, as well as the essence of the expansiveness, the possibilities, the hope that Jupiter brings, the innovativeness, the invention, the creativity that the house of Aquarius brings as we come into this new age of Aquarius. We're going to come through center and switch to the other side. So left leg bends now. And we're going to do the same thing here. So bringing all that planetary essence into our warrior two pose of the Saturn, of the Jupiter, of the age of Aquarius, circling it around our head with our intentions. Let's do one more time. And then coming back through center, release your hands into star pose once again, invoking that night sky into your mind's eye. And just feeling the energy of the movements and the postures and the essence that we just did. And then turn your feet out, 45-degree angle. Reach up to the sky, bend the knees, and come into fiery angel. So we did this mudra, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And so what we do, and I know when I reach up, you won't see my hands, but as I reach up, I'm going to spread my fingers wide. And as I draw them down, I bring my fingers close into a fist. So inhale, reach up. Exhale, create the fist. And this is to release anger and resentment, those negative emotions that we might have incurred during 2020. Inhale, and you can exhale out your mouth if you wish. Now let's do a few more. Again, it's been a year. Let's let all that shit go. Inhale and exhale. One more. And then rise up into your star pose once again, reaching wide and far, shining your light out. Take another breath here. And then release your arms down. Bring your feet together. We're going to move into tree pose. If you were fortunate enough to have some cedar, I happen to have a cedar tree that against all odds has managed to survive on my land. And I also had some for making my Christmas decorations. So cedar is really the wisdom keepers, and their forests are the temples. And so holding your cedar, we're going to move into tree pose. So starting balancing on your left foot. It helps to invoke peaceful thoughts and wisdom of the ancestors. And you take whatever form of tree pose. Again, I'm not worried about the exact anatomy of your tree pose. It's more the essence of what the tree pose brings, of the groundedness, that essence of cedar, of peaceful thoughts, of wisdom, your body as your own temple. And maybe you even want to reach up to the sky. Again, aiming to your highest intentions. Take 3 more breaths in your tree pose on this side. Wherever you're at with your expression of tree pose, embodying that essence. And then gracefully, with your own breath, your own time, make your way back into mountain pose. Take a couple breaths in mountain pose. And then we're going to move to your second side, balancing on your right foot. I am not going to because I have a very sore ankle. But again, invoking that essence of cedar as you move into your variation of tree pose, bending the left knee and finding your expression of tree, maybe reaching to the sky. And finding that spot to gaze as you allow this piece of cedar to interpret messages to the self. This is a time of spiritual expansion, and when we're being asked to go within for guidance, for staying with ourselves, and letting go of our world of absolutes. A couple more breaths here. And then making your way slowly and gracefully back into your mountain pose. So let's release our cedar down if you brought your essence of cedar with you. And then we're going to move into chair pose. Again, that grounding energy. Maybe I'll do it this way. So inhale, reach to the sky. We reach up to the cosmos above, to the light above. And at the same time, we are grounding towards the darkness as we draw our root towards the earth. With your feet together, your knees together, creating that action of spreading the legs wide. Keep reaching higher as we sink lower and sinking, 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 ever lower, lower, lower. And maybe you sink all the way down. Keep reaching up, even as your root comes towards the earth. Some of you might just come right to your bum right here. Some of you might part your knees and reach forward, coming closer to the earth energy and that grounding, that darkness. And then let's all release down to the floor. From here, let's come down into child's pose. And again, that essence of pine, you don't have to bring your pine with you, but that essence of pine as we come into child's pose, we all become like that tiny little seed of potential, where all the parts are there to create a new life, just like the pine cone. But that new life has not yet taken root. It's still purely potential, just as we are, and just as our intentions are, pure potential, ready to burst into life. The spirit of pine reminds us to connect with our intuitive cycles, the higher purpose, and inspires us to tap into our inner light as we move through periods of darkness. From our child's pose, we rise up and find our way back into downward facing dog. And from our downward facing dog, we're going to come down to our bellies once again. So inhaling forward to plank pose, whatever your plank looks like, knees down, knees up. And moving all the way down to the floor. Again, whichever method is most appropriate for you. And coming into a back bend. Now, if you're able, I'm going to suggest intertwining your fingers behind your back, extending the knuckles towards the back of the knees as we lift the heart, opening our light up to the horizon, and maybe floating your legs up off the floor. Lengthening your legs so much that they float up on their own. Taking one more breath here as we open our light. And then exhale, release down. Press up and back into downward facing dog once again. And from here, we're going to move into pigeon pose. So you can move into pigeon pose from tabletop if that most suits your body and your mindset today, or from downward facing dog. And we're going to invoke that essence of cinnamon again. So we'll start with the right leg. So floating that right leg to the sky in three-legged dog. Exhale, draw that right knee forward. Walk that back leg back. If you need a prop, you can put a bolster, a rolled up blanket, a rolled towel, a block underneath that right hip. And for a moment, lift your heart. Lift your light up to the sky. Send that back leg back. Take one more breath. And then keeping your spine long, slowly make your way down into sleeping pigeon. And again, that essence of cinnamon that is grounding, feeling that earth connection, the safety of coming home to that sweetness of cinnamon. And you might come to forearms, you might stack your fists, you might have a block or a bolster to rest your forehead on, or even rest your torso on. Take whatever pigeon pose is appropriate. And if that version isn't appropriate, you can also do thread the needle, like this, or like this. Whatever works for your body today. So pigeon pose is also an excellent pose for release, for letting go of all of those things that no longer serve you. The shadows are very long right now outside, and we all have those shadows within us, and we like to push those shadows away, but we need to acknowledge them. So as things come up for you in your pigeon pose, acknowledge, feel the emotion, feel whatever you're feeling, and then release it on your exhale. Let it go. You've got a few more breaths here in your pigeon pose, where we take time to reflect on your year. So have two more breaths in whatever version of pigeon pose you are actually in right now. Breathing out all that needs to be released. And just like we did earlier in our forward fold, breathe into your back body. Imagine your back body expanding like this expansive dark sky of stars above us right now. Really breathe into the back body and exhale into the earth. On this next breath, begin to make your way up and back into downward facing dog or tabletop, whichever variation you're working from. And if you move into down dog, perhaps you want to stretch that leg out in three-legged dog or maybe even fire hydrant. Really, this is about what feels right for you. And then let's float the left leg up for pigeon on our second side. And if you're in table, just drawing that left leg forward, left knee towards the left wrist, walking the back leg back. And we start in our upright pigeon. Set up your props wherever you might need them. Maybe you need them under that straight leg. Maybe you need it under your left hip. Really think about opening the heart, shining out your light like that sun that's rising and ascending. And then keeping the spine long, begin to allow yourself to move towards earth. Feeling that earth connection, and again to that sweetness of the cinnamon. Take this time on this side again to reflect on your year, where you were a year ago, all those lessons, those soul lessons you learned through 2020, where you are now, embracing your mistakes and all the amazing things you learned from your mistakes. We learned from all these changes. We learned how creative we were, how resilient we were, how adaptable we are. Expanding through your back body like the night sky, Releasing into the earth. Got 3 more breaths in pigeon on this side. And then slowly begin to make your way up and back into downward facing dog, however best suits you, possibly stopping in tabletop. Maybe again, you want to stretch it out in 3-legged dog or roll it open in fire hydrant. Whatever really feels good to you in this moment, nurturing your body and your soul, however it feels right. And then let's all come into downward facing dog. Take an inhale here. And as we exhale, step, walk, or float to the top of your mat. Inhale to open the heart. Exhale to bow down. And inhale, circle your arms wide like that cyclical nature of the sun reaching up to the sky, coming into our Kali Mudra once again, reaching high to the light above, ascending, aiming our intentions. As you reach up on your inhale, name your intention to yourself. 3 breaths, 3 times, name your intention. Grounding through your feet, reaching high to the sky. And then releasing the arms down. Let's flow down to the floor once again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to lift the heart. And exhale, stepping back, downward facing dog. And then we're coming down to child's pose once again. And I'm going to ask you, if you have clothes, bring your clothes within reach. As clothes is in the spice, not the clothes that you wear. So as you come into child's pose, either classic child's pose with arms alongside your shins or extended child's pose, your choice. But this pungent spice is from the evergreen tree, an evergreen tree that stimulates the digestive fire within us. And to help us digest all we take in, not only physically, but also mentally and spiritually, so that we can manifest or metabolize it and transform it and use it for our greater good. And there's been a lot to digest this year. And then also our digestion and our powers of digestion, both mentally, spiritually, and physically, allows us to release that which does not serve us. And if we don't, those things can turn into toxins. Cloves were also said to attract prosperity for the coming year and to create an awakening of the mind. So take a nice big whiff of your cloves. And then from your child's pose, rise up on your knees, reach up to the sky, intertwine your fingers, Kali Mudra, reach for the sky. And then as we exhale, we bring our hands to the small of our back, come back into child's pose. We're going to repeat this 3 times. Inhale, reach up, lengthen up. And as we exhale, we come back down. Each time lengthening our spine a little bit more, reaching a little bit higher. And this time, as we release our arms down, let's bring our hands to our sacrum as though we had back pockets. We're going to move into camel pose. So you can curl your toes under if you wish, or keep your feet flat. You decide. And we're going to start, actually, we're going to start a little differently. I changed my mind. You're going to bring your hands to your heart center. And we're going to start by just reaching up and circling the arm around back to the heart center, and then the other hand. reaching to the sky, reaching up, circling around. And maybe this next time, we release the one hand to our shin as we reach up, and then release as we reach up with the other hand. And keep reaching, lengthening. And then bring your hands to your heart center. We're going to move into our variation of camel pose. You might have your hands on your sacrum or your back pockets where we were just a minute ago. You might intertwine your fingers into fists behind your back. But we're going to work at lengthening up, just like we did as we moved in and out of child's pose, lengthening up, lengthening up, lengthening up, lifting the heart and opening into our back bend, opening up our solar plexus, our heart up to the light. Maybe some of you might reach back to your heels, your calves, or to a bolster across your shins. But we keep lifting the heart higher. This is a powerful pose for our solar plexus, which is our center of digestion, the area where the cloves really help boost our digestion, boost our fire, so that we can digest all these things we take in and eliminate that which we no longer need. Take one more breath here. And then bring your hands to your heart center, come upright. Pause here and release your sit bones towards your heels. And if this is not comfortable for you, move straight into child's pose once again. We're all going to meet in child's pose shortly if you're not already there. And again, that child's pose and the essence of clothes contains a wealth of healing potential and protection. Breathe in the essence of clothes. And then inhale to rise up. And find your way to a seat. And we're going to come into just a really nice, gentle pose of deer pose. So knees are bent. My left shin is on top of my right arch, and my hands are coming over to the right side. So my opposite arm, opposite hand can come to the, my left arm is to the outside of my right knee. My right hand is behind me. So this is a very open twist that we're moving into. You also have the option to bring your hand, fingers pointing in under that knee, and we begin to twist right. So again, very open through the heart center, open through the belly, shining your light out, looking over your right shoulder initially, and then slowly turn your head to look over your left shoulder. And you can even lean the head back a little bit, shining your light out that much more, that light within, out into the darkness of the night sky. And then you can release. Bring both hands to both your knees. Pause here for a moment. And then let's just simply switch sides. So now my feet are out to the right, my knees are over to the left. Right shin is resting on my left arch. So right hand to the left knee, or right fingers underneath the left knee, however best suits your body. Left hand is behind you. Open twist to the left. So just notice the openness of the heart, openness of the solar plexus, openness of the throat as you twist left. And slowly turn your head to look over your front shoulder, possibly leaning the head back a little bit, opening that front body. The heart center is shining your light into the midnight sky even more. So it's like a twist and a back bend all together. And then release out of your twist. Both hands come to both knees and sit up tall for just a moment. And then release the legs out in front, straight out in front of you as we started for our Dandasana, except this time we're going to bend the right knee and draw that foot into the inside. So it's kind of like half Baddha that we did, and also half of that other first pose we did, Paschimottanasana. So this is our heart to knee pose, where it's a very grounding pose, to ground our intentions, to ground all of our heart's deepest desires into the manifestation of earth and into the essence of Saturn. So moving your heart towards that straight leg, toes pointing to the sky, we begin to fold forward, and your forward fold might look like this, or it might be just right here. Some of you are going to forward fold further. Again, close your eyes, because it doesn't matter where you get. We just want to feel into the pose. And if you've got your cloves or your cinnamon handy, those are great symbolisms in this pose. The grounding of the cinnamon, the sweetness of life as we reflect and project our intentions, and the healing potential of cloves as we fold forward here. Closing the eyes, drawing inward, ending as we began with our inward reflection at this time of darkness. Very slowly begin to make your way back upright. Taking a moment here in your upright position. And then let's bend both knees. Support yourself with your hands beside your hips. And just let your knees rock from side to side a few times. Nice and gentle. Release any tension in your back if you're very tight in your side body, or your low back, your quadratus lumborum. That can be an intense pose for some of us. And then come back into your Dandasana. And let's draw the opposite leg in. So left foot comes in. And I forgot to say this, but you can put something, a rolled up towel or a blanket, under your knee if you need it. Flex those toes on the straight leg and press this foot into your leg just like we do in tree pose. Get nice and tall. Inhale, lift up, and exhale. Fold forward wherever your forward fold takes you with eyes closed. It does not matter. What matters is what you're feeling and the essence of that you're bringing into this grounding pose. The healing potential. Feeling once again into that earth connection. Feeling the safety of coming home. This time of darkness is all about coming into our roots, into the earth, where we gather our energy, just like the plant world around us does at this point in time, or those animals that hibernate, drawing their essence into the earth to gestate, to create, and to allow time for resting in preparation for the new growth. Two more breaths here. And then begin to make your way up, coming up to a seat once again. Let's do that same little release exercise, bending the knees and just allowing the knees to rock from side to side. Releasing any tensions in hips, backs, pelvis. And then we're going to make our way down into Shavasana for our final rest, our final death. Shavasana means corpse. And so this is at the end of our practice where we release everything into a sort of death so that we can be reborn again and rise up. And so take some time to create a comfortable Shavasana for yourself. Sweaters and socks and blankets and whatever props you need to feel comfortable. And take some time to absorb all that the essence of everything that we talked about, the essence of the darkness of the winter solstice, the essence of the grounding to earth and the manifesting of our intentions, the expansiveness of Jupiter, and the boundaries and containment of Saturn. So as you come onto your back with your feet hip width or wider, your arms away from your sides enough so that you can turn your palms up to the light so that it is comfortable, shoulder blades underneath your back. Let your eyes close. Bring your awareness back into your breath. And then roll your head gently from side to side. Just nice and slow and gentle with your breath. Do that several times. And then come back to center where it feels appropriate and restful for center. And then gently reach your chin up and draw your chin towards your chest. And do that a couple of times. And then come back to center so that your neck feels long. And then rock your hips from side to side. And lift your right leg an inch off the floor and engage all the muscles of that right leg as you lengthen it as much as you can. Keep it lifted, keep it lifted, keep it lifted. And gently set it back down and feel that energy, that relaxation. And then let's do the same with your left leg. Just lift it an inch off the floor with a straight leg. Engage all the muscles and lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And then softly place it back down. Maybe rock your hips from side to side one more time. And then allow yourself to come to stillness, to come into Shavasana, into corpse pose. Like that death of all of that you need to let go of as the leaves in fall release to compost. Let all that stuff, all the lessons you learned, all the hard things, let them go to be composted into the earth. And then state your intention silently to yourself one last time. And then release to the stillness, to the non-doing, to the darkness. I invite you to very gently begin to become aware of your breath. As you begin to deepen your breath, invoking those peaceful thoughts of cedar, interpreting the message from the inner self, your inner wisdom. And then breathing a little more life into your body. Invoke the essence of the pine cone, pine tree, the most ancient of plants, as we call upon the wisdom of the ancestors that have gone before us. And imagine the spines of the pine cone spiraling in that perfect sacred geometry, reminding us of our ancient connections, reminding us to continue to connect with our intuitive cycles and our higher purposes. And invoke into your mind, as you continue to deepen your breath, the essence of the spruce, reminding us of our own resilience, reminding us that when we doubt ourselves, that we have that inner resilience regardless of what was happening around us or what obstacles may be in our path. And then begin to breathe even more life and movement into your body. And begin to invoke that essence of orange and allow the essence of orange to bring joy into your heart, creativity into your mind, as you begin to allow creative movement of whatever feels right for you in this moment. As you begin to rouse your body, begin drawing in that warmth of the coming sun and the purifying of the flame growing inside you. And imagine your solstice intentions doing the same, growing with the light of the essence of orange, the symbol of the sun. And then slowly making your way to a seat, whatever that looks like for you today. Finding your meditation seat. And as each of you find your way there right now, take a moment to feel into that essence of the spice of cinnamon, the ground of the root chakra, the essence of Saturn and the grounding and the manifesting. And sink into your root, into your base in this new position. And as you do so, lengthen up through your spine, through the crown, that essence related to Jupiter, the planet that has come into convergence from our root to our crown, from Saturn to Jupiter and their opposites, mingling energies of the sky and the earth at our heart center. And we open our heart and our ability to see the bigger picture and appreciate the opportunities and the lessons that may come available to us through this coming year. State your intentions one last time. Silently thank this day of darkness. Thank the gifts of the darkness. And thank the coming of the light. Slowly bring your hands to your heart center. With eyes closed, take an inhale deeply down into the body. Exhale out your mouth. Take one more inhale to close our practice with one Om. Let your eyes gently flutter open, bringing your awareness back to the light. And if you have a candle lit in front of you, just take a moment to gaze at that candle, at that light in the darkness, reminding yourself that you have that same light within you. And I want to say a very genuine namaste to each and every one of you. And thank you so much for joining today. And I wish you the most joyous of season and all of the best and highest intentions for the coming year. Namaste, everybody. So I'm going to come and unmute you.